Fellow Ambazonians, I bring you greetings from the presidency. Last few days, we have received distress calls from our people in the homeland and in the diaspora. From the young boy, 7 years old, from the girl in her 90s, from the Bayam Salams, the professor, the taxi driver, our chiefs, and what have you. We received lots of messages that speak to the determination of the Ambazonian people. Messages of our people who remember the suffering in the illegal union called Cameroon. I have talked to professors who went through Yaoundé, and they can remember vividly the nightmares. We have talked to ministers in La Republique's government who continue to be treated like second-class citizens until this day. We have talked to taxi drivers who could not make it at home and looking at the suffering masses of their families, looking at the pain, looking at the impasse that lied ahead, especially to the younger ones in their various families. These taxi drivers, farmers, Bayam Salams, truck pushers, Okada riders, and you bear the brunt, had to bear the difficulties with moving out of home into a diaspora where they never knew where night would be spent. Fellow Ambazonians, from the interim government, we have always declared that this is a God-ordained struggle. Nobody doubts the fact that this is a moment in history like no other moment. Nobody doubts the fact that the Emperor in Yaoundé and his cabal had long been kept by the courage and determination of the Ambazonian people. That's why in their question, every action of theirs has been a callous mistake that has only helped increase our resolve, increase our determination to free our country. Nobody doubts the fact that the miles we have moved are uncountable, that our journey to freedom, our journey to liberty, our journey to Boya is much shorter than surrendering into the hands of wicked oppressor and suppressor of the Ambazonian people. Fellow Ambazonians, in the 40 years of this year, I have not met one single Ambazonian who thinks that the moment is wrong. I have not met one single Ambazonian who thinks we are not on the right course. I have not met one single Ambazonian who thinks this is not a winning struggle. Tonight, from the interim government, the Vice President of our nation sends you greetings. The Vice President of our nation sends you assurances. The Vice President of our nation says we should tell you that there is no return and there is no surrender, because our cause is divine, is just and legitimate. Our cause was a winnable cause even before we began. It isn't that our nation knows the sense of our president, and with the vice president being on ground zero, he has appointed 3 members of the interim government to act in the presidential council that would continue to steer the affairs of the state until he addresses our nation or our president is from abduction and he talks to our people. The message from the vice president as the presidential council made of Barrister Bob Harmony, Chief Fontaine, and Comrade Nancy, that you all know too well, is that we should remain focused on the prize. We should remain focused on Boya. The interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia gives assurances to the Ambazonia that the mission to free our people from 56 years of enslavement, of subjugation, and assimilation is perfectly on course. That while we weep and while we gnash at the moment of pain, the one thing this ordeal has done is it has united us. It has increased our resolve and our determination to fight on. Let everybody know that Ambazonians had taken the ultimate decision. Give us freedom or we all die. And we will stop at nothing until we get freedom, until we free our stolen country. We send the occupying forces of Cameroon packing from a land flowing with milk and honey that they have raped for so long and have made every single one of us in Ambazonia, in our country, feel like visitors in land. Never and never and never again tolerate the arrogance of Yaoundé, the arrogance of the CPDM government that continues to roast the values, the educational standards, a legal framework, everything in Ambazonia. Let it be known that when we restored our independence, when we restored our state on the 1st of October, that was a restoration never to be repeated. Ambazonians, be courageous. I'm here to now brief you on developments with regards to the sad ordeal when His H.E Sisiku Ayuk Tabe, leader of our revolution, president of the nation, was kidnapped with 8. Some of the finest brains that have sacrificed everything to ensure Tanzania is free. Fellow compatriots, as a nation, we are alarmed. As members of the interim government that were not in that meeting, we continue to be shocked like every one of you. And while we ask all of you not to allow the brutality of Yaoundé and its conspirators to break you, we want to assure you that we sourced one of the best lawyers you can find in the name of Falana. And that Barrister Falana is working with a team of lawyers across the globe, Ambazonia, led by Barrister Bobga, British, Americans, and name the rest. We, as the interim government, are doing everything in our power to ensure that the necessary resources required by lawyers of this caliber are at their disposal so that the perpetrators of this act, which we strongly believe unwise, engaged diplomatically, legally, and politically. We have no doubt that the abduction of our leaders was more political than anything else. We would like to message to all of those involved, that one thing that can never be hidden under the sun, and that it is a fact that in this day and age, it is sad that leaders, freedom fighters, whose only mission is to free the people from bondage, whose only mission is to free their citizens from genocide, from occupation, from demolition, are kidnapped and their rights violated. How can restorationists be abducted? How can freedom fighters be abducted? How can who have given up their life, almost give professions, in order to execute one mission and one mission only, to stand for the weak, stand for the oppressed, and stand for the suppressed, be abducted like it happened? The one thing we'd like to show a nation tonight is that our leaders will be free, and they must be free. We would like to assure our nation that we are in an unstoppable train. We are moving at a supersonic speed. Amazonia. No intimidation, arrest, incarceration, or whatever you call it, abduction, murder, genocide, none of this will stop us. So, to the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Amazonian people are very concerned. It was our hope that in the interest of a common history, a history from 1919 to 1953, much, much longer than what we see republic, fake federation, that even if it was for the sake of that history alone, the fact that our people have a lot of commonality, we speak the same language, we trade amongst ourselves with really good tradeness, and that there is an obligation for Nigeria, justice to discuss. The least we had expected, your government, His Excellency President Buhari, was to face the truth, raise the government of the people of Amazonia, and tell the Republic that you do not have with them. You don't have a boundary with La Republic. Our people are, the interim government is shocked. We call on the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we call His Excellency President Buhari to release our leaders so that peace can retain in our society. We can assure you that for every single day our leaders are incarcerated, or are kept in conditions that cannot fully be explained by every single Ambazonian. The anger of the Ambazonian people is being stretched. Our determination and resolve is being stretched. We ask this because we know that Nigeria is a law-abiding country. We ask this because we know that Nigeria is a democratic country. We appeal to the will of all good citizens of Nigeria, of all members of parliament in Nigeria, of all senators in Nigeria, to remember our history, to remember the case of the Ambazonian people is a case that Nigeria must fight for and defend us. That you put pressure on your government to do it. We trust you will do that. And we trust us will be released as soon as we'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Nigerian people and administration, especially the governor of the state, who has evidently stood side by side the Ambazonian people in supporting the thousands and thousands of refugees that continue to flee genocide, rape, brutality, murder, inflicted on our peace-loving, armless people by terrorist brutal forces of La République du Cameroon. We thank all Nigerians and our people a place to lay their heads, giving them water to drink and food to eat. We ask that you continue to do that because our roots are deep and they are roots that must be and protected by all parties, Nigerians and Ambazonians alike. Now, with our leaders, a number of days in captivity, the government, the cabinet of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, after having suspended protest marches on Monday the 8th, was left with no other choice at the end of in the cabinet meeting, but on all Ambazonians to rise up like one man. We are not at peace, and we would not be at peace until our leader, H.E Sisiku Ayuk Tabe, and his aides, and our leaders are released from their places of abduction. So yes, cabinet expects every single Ambazonian to rally behind your country leaders, to rally behind front lines, to rally behind other leaders of our movement, and march on all Nigerian embassies in the diaspora. Carry your Ambazonian flags. Carry messages that send a clear message of our frustration as Ambazonians, so that the foreign representatives of the government of Nigeria will receive our memos that will come from the Department of Foreign Affairs, will receive your messages and send to their government. That the government we had expect stand side by side with us right through until we celebrate our installation in Boya. It would have been the government of Nigeria, and most importantly, the current government, the President Buhari, because this is certainly one fight that we have no plan will run for too long. More than 97% of our people are with us. So there's no way a brutal military can ever win us. There's no way a brutal dictatorship can win us. There's no way a terrorist government can ever win us. Fellow Ambazonians, some of you have been frustrated why we did not call upon you to march on Nigerian missions and embassies on Sunday. As a civil, as a government that prefers diplomacy, as a government that has always preferred peaceful means to resolve conflict, it has always been our goal to engage. And so we had to engage the Nigerian government. We are running out of patience, and it's becoming very difficult to control our people who want would want to reiterate from the cabinet that the protest marches to Nigerian missions are peaceful. I want to repeat that. They are peaceful protest marches. I want to repeat that. They are peaceful protest marches. We therefore condemn all forms of violence. All leaders will be called to these marches to ensure that all Ambazonians aside are protected throughout the life of this struggle. Our mission to send a message. The one critical ingredient that must be achieved is that on every single one of their missions, we must be hundreds and hundreds. We must really show that enough is and really show how frustrated and angry we are. Personally, I am so angry. I have not been able to, from the day the news that and our leaders were kidnapped. Now to Ambazonians in the homeland, in diaspora, from Ekolum, from Kumba to Bamenda, from Oya to Jakiri, from Fru Kankang to Munya, from Ekondo Titi to Santa, from the interim government. We ask on you in the homeland not to go out on the streets. This tool we have used has beaten La Republic mercilessly. They keep blundering. Fellow Ambazonians, sorry we had a technical glitch there. So, from the interim government, we want to reiterate to all Ambazonians that you will not go out of the protest. The protests are always sanctioned for Ambazonians in the area. We had commissioned all of you in the homeland to observe 3 days of ghost towns. We have been receiving daily reports. The ghost towns on Monday, more than 200% successful. The ghost towns today, Tuesday, were more than 5% successful. Fellows, the ghost towns tomorrow must be 1,000% successful. Ghost towns have paralyzed La Republic du Cameroon. Ghost towns have made them so broke. You must know Yaoundé broke down. That very soon The Yaoundé military that is very hungry will turn on and they will eat their own. Very soon, La Republic civil servants will turn on them, I assure you, because very soon they will not even have salaries to pay them. Month by month, the occupying country, the terrorist government, borrows money from one international organization to another. So fellow Amazonians, you must know we are winning and we are winning big. We are winning and we are winning big. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is a special message from the Vice President of our nation. That is a special message from our Presidential Council. That is a special message from the interim government. We are so proud of you. And we assure you that all Amazonians in the diaspora are not at sleep. We are working 28/7, and we will stop at nothing on our president, our God-ordained leader, His Excellency Sisiku Ayuk Tabe. Every single one of our other leaders are released from their places of abduction captivity. Fellow members, the mission, it's a very expensive. We will reiterate the call for massive fundraising. Tonight, I ask you to set your conscience. Set your conscience and ask yourself, have you donated enough to the cause to free our people? 20 years from now, because we believe this freedom will not be for long. When we are in Boya, and the road from our capital Boya to Victoria, to our seaport in Victoria, it's 6 lanes, 3 lanes on each side. And you are driving with your sons and daughters. When they turn and ask you, Mama, Papa, when our leaders were freeing our country, why have I never heard or read of your name anywhere? What role did you play? What sacrifices did you make? What will you tell them? When we live in a country where there's equal opportunities, where you do not get into professional schools because you have a name, we do not become a minister because you come from a particular tribe. When we run a country where everybody is equal before, including the president, and your children turn back and ask you, Papa, Mama, brother, sister, and professors, chiefs, drivers, big business people, government workers, Cameroon ministers, people in the military that have deserted the military to their country, when they were sacrificing so much, where were you? What did you do? Fellow Amazonians, such our consciences. I have given up life to free Amazonia. And to the terrorist government, they must know that all of us Amazonians now do not fear is death. The only thing we fear most is the fear of our people. We make a pledge, and that's the pledge I had from the Vice President, a pledge from the interim government, and I repeat it, that we will never betray this cause. We will never betray our people. We will stand by the Amazonian people until Amazonia is free. So let the Republic know, and let their collaborators around the world know, that the train to free Amazonia is unstoppable. If you arrest all of us, the leaders that will emerge after us will be stronger. If you abduct those that will come after them would even be stronger. So to the United Nations, to the European Union, to the African, to the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to La Republic of Cameroon, to France, to Britain, and other countries, we will never retreat. We will never surrender. Let nobody be fooled that we are scared of the brutality. It only strengthens our courage. Fellow Amazonians, sacrifice. Some of you are journalists, and you are complaining that communication is not effective. Why are you not contributing? Who do you want to do communication for you? Stand out of the crowd and be heard. Some of you are billionaires. You are complaining that a satellite is not reaching every corner. We need to have the Amazonian radio run. We need several millions. Can you sacrifice your life for this? Can you sell those houses for this? Can you sell those can have many for this? This is our struggle. This is the Amazonian struggle. This is the Amazonian people. Tonight we want to say courage, brother. We want to say courage, sisters. Be firm. Listen. Let's remain under captivity. But from the interim government, we say, be calm. Because we will prevail. We promise you that the brutality of now achieves one objective. It encourages us, it inspires us, and it fires us to a level on it. Thank you to all of you who sacrificed so much. Thank you to all of you who contributed so much money. Thank you to so many of you who have contributed your expertise. We'll celebrate you. Amazonia will never forget you. History will never forget you. Fellow Amazonians, no better time than now for us united. Let it be known that for every action and for word that each of us carries out throughout the life of this struggle, there is a freedom book. Your name is there every single action. Let it be remembered to those of you who have chosen to become manufacturers of lies, who have chosen to become manufacturers of assassination, who have chosen to fight the Amazonian people and not the opponent, not the enemy. You will have your day. And I repeat that. You will have your day. Amazonians, open your eyes. The bad elements live inside us. The bad elements are inside our communities. They're on our social media platforms. From the interim government, we say call them out, name them, and shame them. Let them disgrace to humanity. And let them know history will remember them because they are collaborators of murder, the collaborators of genocide, and all the pain I went through, including the thousands that continue to flow here. Their suffering and the blood, there's so many that have been buried, is on their hands. Let's warn them. Let's warn them that the only people in this struggle are people who are genuine to the Amazonian cause. And very fellow Amazonians, all Amazonians want to be free, who are willing to fight for the freedom of our land and our nation, are restorationists. I am a restorationist. Our president is a restorationist. All our secretaries are restorationists. All our country leaders are restorationists. All our people across the globe and all of them in the homeland that believe in a free Amazonia are restorationists. And because we are restorationists, we will restore our land. Those who are not restorationists are deformists. Why do I say deformist? They want to take us back into La Republic and deform us. They want to take us back into La Republic so that they continue to rape us. They want to take us back into La Republic so that we continue to be treated as third classes. Not in my lifetime. Not in your lifetime. Not time of this interim government. Fellow Amazonians, we will restore the dignity of the Amazonian child. We will restore the dignity of the Amazonian mother and the Amazonian father. We will restore the dignity of Amazonia. We will move to Boya and we will free our land. We know this is a God. So no matter the shocks on the road, we will not stop. We know those that are terrorists. Yeah, is the headquarters of terrorism when it comes to the illegal union. Because Yaoundé does not know dialogue. Every time we have said dialogue, Yaoundé has brought machine guns. Every time we have said dialogue, Yaoundé has brought genocide. Every time we have said dialogue, Yaoundé has brought refugees push out thousands and thousands of people out of their homeland. Fellow Ambazonians, let it be that we are restorationists and don't allow anybody ever call you what should only be described to those that are terrorizing our mothers, terrorizing our fathers, terrorizing our brothers and sisters, and terrorizing our children. Not separatist. If there was a legal union, we were separatists. There has never been a legal union. And because there has been a legal union, of course, you all barrister, Dr. Fontaine, Patterson, Weaver, and all the other leaders in the consortium had literally begged this government to put the federation question on the table. And they would never be discussed in Cameroon because that's illegal. You will remember that even the parliamentarians of the SDF went into the parliament prior saying the Anglophone question must be discussed. They were told, you must take that foreign agenda out of our parliament. This parliament for Francophone Cameroon. It's for La République du Cameroon. Nothing to do with Ambazonia. If you want to talk Ambazonia, go talk to Ambazonia. So our question to parliamentarians is, what are you still waiting? Actually, to CPD and parliamentarians, you remain one of those cases of Ambazonians. But the president had sent a message to all Ambazonians. Show all Ambazonians love. Whether they're unionist slaves or federalist slaves, still show them love. Continue to preach to them and convert them. So yes, these will be converted. But let every calling themselves parliamentarians or senators in the occupiers' territory, why are people massacred, let them know that our state, they're welcome in that house. Fellow Ambazonians, to recap again, Ambazonian, but there is hope. Our people are very distressed, but they are equally very encouraged by the determination and resolve of the Ambazonian people. Your vice president who's in the homeland, whom you would know at the right time, sends you special greetings, says very proud of you, and says the struggle continues. The three-man presidential committee leading the cabinet sends the same message. Global protests have been announced from cabinet. All country leaders, frontline, and other leaders in the team must lead all Ambazonians to protest in front of all nations. Remember, the protest is peaceful because we want to send a message to them and hand a memo to say we could not believe Nigeria would do this to us. Equally remember that the global protests that were scheduled from the 12th to the 19th of January remain. The one on the 19th in particular is very significant because Mark Mancho BBC being held under captivity by the occupying government of Mr. Paul Biya in cells whose conditions are very deplorable for exactly 1 year. We expect a single Ambazonian to come out in your communities and countries on the day in which free Ambazonian global are called by your leaders, whether it be the 12th of January, the 13th of January, or the 19th of January. And again, remember that there is a message that related, which will be handed to the different missions so that there is consistency. We want to thank our compatriots in the homeland. Ghost towns have been so successful across Ambazonia. We ask that the ghost towns of tomorrow should be 1,000%. The no school boycott has equally been very, very successful. Very, very successful. Every Ambazonian under the sound of my voice this evening, an Ambazonian who receives messages from the communication of the interim government to send messages to the nooks and crannies of Ambazonia that there will be no schools in Ambazonia under the terrible security situation until the conditions we mentioned are met. Penterens, Comrade Asa Patrick Dango, and all our leaders are released, as well as our president and all of the other leaders currently kidnapped. that the terrorist forces in our land live and live on conditions immediately, including the colonial administrators. These conditions are non negotiable. And as we said, when we get to the dialogue table, it's a question of separation of the world. And if they don't dialogue, we will go by force. That is reasonable. There can never be any dialogue out of us going to Poya, period. And that is final. We've called on unity. We've called on Ambazonians to continue to donate massively because we still have a lot of refugees increasing. We now have legal cases. There's diplomacy and what have you. And all of these are extremely important. And lastly, we reject the terrorism of Yaoundé. We are restorationists. We will die as restorationists. Fellow Ambazonians, our leader will be free, and he will be free very soon. I thank you for listening. Tonight, I've been told it would be possible for us to receive calls. So if you have any calls, please call into studio. I'm equally checking on WhatsApp. If you do have any question you'd like to ask, please feel free to do that. We have 15 minutes. And over the 15 minutes, I would like to answer specific questions that will be coming from you. Thank you so much for listening. All right, I see a comment here, and I want to respond. What is our attitude to all Nigerians? Our investigation is very deep in order to identify the cartel involved in the abduction. We must know that the people, and I'm talking about the Nigerian people, have been so good to Ambazonians. We've always lived like brothers and sisters over the last 56 while we were being treated as second citizens in the Cameroons. So we are instructing all our citizens to ensure that you continue to live very peacefully and very brotherly with all Nigerians in all our communities, especially in the homeland and in the diaspora. Nigerians are on our side. Our biggest concern is of their government. And as we have said, we're some of the best to ensure that we get to the bottom of this. A question from Mildred Ndangchi. How do you know for sure that the information are giving you about the state of our interim president and cabinet members is true, especially since they haven't been seen or heard from? We have told our people there will be a press conference hosted by a legal team as soon as they have their facts. But the one thing we can assure you is the propaganda of Yaoundé is, of course, work out of a government that has already lost it. If Yaoundé had our leaders, no doubt, they would have long paraded them on their TV stations. But do note that Nigeria cannot and will not send our leaders into terrorist La République du Cameroon. One simple reason that under international, there are no treaties, there are no treaties that permit to do that. Some of our leaders, Dr. Fofo Ngala, Barrister Eyambe, Parifet, Barrister Naloa, these are refugees protected by international laws. They are protected by the United Nations. So we have no doubt that Nigeria will act responsibly. We are watching and we are expecting the release of our leaders as soon as possible. Fricks, why were they arrested? Fricks, that question is a question all our people in their frustration. Because, of course, it makes no sense to arrest leaders whose main political philosophy is peaceful, resist freedom people. It makes no sense to arrest freedom fighters and restorationists. None was kidnapped by the apartheid government in South Africa. Nelson Mandela was not arrested by the government of Zimbabwe or Zambia. These countries were active because they understand of black people in South Africa at that time. And that's why interim government, the people clearly states that we are lambs. The government of Nigeria could do this because they understand this better. The government of Nigeria must again go look at the Abuja ruling where they were told to take the case of the Amazonian people to appropriate courts to facilitate. Has the Nigerian government commented about adoption of our leaders from SNC Australia? Well, all of this we will know in due course. We cannot give answers that we are not very sure of. One thing we assure you is that we are doing everything in our powers, and we assure you that the president of our nation, Nigeria, has done it. Peter T. Aya, you are the people that we think grace to a match to free our people. You must know Milan is one of the finest comrades in our ranks. And if you want to know who Milan, I am not sure on which side of the fence you are sitting, but join the fence of the Amazonian people, and you will be able to make pronouncements that promote this struggle and do not undermine it. It's very important, as I said earlier, that we identify the very bad elements, we name them and we shame them. And you must know that some of us are not afraid of some of you manufacturing these tales and putting them out there. Some of us, this call coming in. Let's take the caller. I can see your questions. But hello. Hello, caller. Caller, can you hear me? All right. Caller, I cannot hear you. I cannot hear a word. I'm sorry. Lots of I have a question from Marvin Ashu. Have you been fish out the person who betrayed them? We will know. I promise you that every struggle and every we promise you. Hello, caller. Greetings. You have the line, please carry on. Hello. You have the lines, please carry on. We have another caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Yes, please. Yes. You may pose your question. Yes. I'm listening. Hello. Yes, please. Carry on.
Yes.
That line.
Mr. Milton.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening. How?
I haven't got a question to ask because I know all what you have said is very correct, but I just want to encourage our brethren to let them know that we are a people with dignity, and the cause we're fighting for just. And we are ready to go to the last end.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do to stop us is to kill all of us. So every Southern Cameroonian should be ready and be proud of his or herself because we have gone this far.
Mm.
The thing is that in most races, most fights, people always give up at the eve of the victory.
Yeah.
Abducting or kidnapping our leaders doesn't mean that they have stopped the fight. And by the way, who tells them it's a fight that someone can stop? It is in our heads.
Yeah.
And even if we die today, the children yet to be born will still carry on the fight.
Yeah.
So nobody, no Southern Cameroonians should be discouraged. Carry your head high and continue with the fight as if nothing has happened. For they can't stop us. They got no means to stop us. Everything is on our side.
Yeah.
They can just get us, but they can't stop us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just want to plead on every Southern Cameroonians to look at where you stand. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Yes.
Don't give up. Let's just come together, finance it as we can. The fact is that not all of us are rich, but everybody should do. If you can finance, there is something you can still do to keep the cost going. And we are going to make it to Boya. There is no doubt in it. I want to congratulate the Vice President for putting the state affairs into Bobga Harmony's hands. And I want to plead that we all should stand behind him, support him, and let the fight get on. I thank you very much on the Secretary of Communication for the good job and for the courage. Please, this brother too, we should advise him to take courage and don't keep an ear to what Bia is doing to tarnish his image, because all what is being written about Milan online is just because the government in Etundi or the government in Yaoundé has seen that he is a comrade that can do something for the cause of his people. That is why they're trying to tarnish his image and bring him down. This is not the time for pointing any fingers. We are on it, and we shall get to Boya, and I know I shall be buried there. Thank you plenty, my brother. May the Almighty God be on our side and continue to bless and guide us.
But you all know that this is not a moment where we any technical glitches to distract. Hello, caller. Caller.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, I greet you.
Good evening.
Good evening, my sister. How are you? Oh, very nice.
No, I'm fine.
Are you from Cameroon or from Ambazonia?
Yes, we are
Where
only saying what to pray for you. Yes, we are in Bafut, Cameroon, Bamenda.
Oh, good. Oh, very good. You are in Ambazonia. Yes. The line is very clear. Please carry on. carry on, please. The line is very clear. Sorry, we lost that caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, greetings.
Hello.
You have the airwaves.
Hello?
Please carry on. Hello, greetings. You have the airwaves. Please carry on.
I'm Godfrey.
Yes, carry on. Call from Dub. Oh, wonderful. You're calling from Dub. So good to hear from you in the homelands. Please carry on.
I just want to ask a question.
Please do.
Are we asking for freedom, or are we fighting for freedom?
Are we also asking for freedom? Or what again?
Are we fighting for freedom, or are we asking for freedom?
Listen, and I think that's a very good question. Nobody gave you freedom. We have made that abundantly clear. We have taken the freedom of Ambazonia. Ambazonia belongs to Ambazonia. We will see and put the occupier. We're not asking Yaoundé to give up. Very good. Hello, caller. Caller.
Hello.
Hello, caller. Yes, greetings.
Hello.
You're Ivan 5.
Yes, I want that. Yes, they should not take them to Yaoundé.
Couldn't. We'll be very shocked. Nigeria makes.
Yes, I know. Hello.
We listen. We listen. All right. I think Tembi, you asked, are we asking for freedom, or are we fighting for freedom? The answer is a straight one. We are fighting. Never been given freedom. Fellow comrade, you have a place. Carry on. Comrade, if you can hear me, I can hear you. Please carry on. All right, we struggle to get that. Listen, comrade. Nobody has ever said I'm easy. Nobody said we're going to march on red roads. We had always known that because our land is very rich with diamond, rich oil, rich with palm oil, rich with timber, rich with agricultural produce, coffee, cocoa, and the rest. Most importantly, human resources from every field we knew Yaoundé would not want to leave, but we want to assure you that the girl powers, imperialists who occupied power, didn't want to leave, but they left. So Yaoundé would leave, whether they like it or not. We will continue to fight, and we will continue to exist. I would like you to remember the great quote Honorable Weber released into our hearts in Parliament, that when injustice law resistance becomes a duty to every single Ambazonian. You must resist La République du Cameroon. You must resist its collaborators until we get to Boya. I hope you're okay with that. We never said we're asking La République. We said we have to sit around. So why many people and still go dialogue? That's up to Yaoundé.
Yes,
hello, caller. Greetings, sir. Please carry on. Please carry on. Sorry, we lost the caller. Hello, caller. Tell us where you're calling from. Ask your question or make a comment. If you want to address the paper appeal, keep it below a minute. I have 10 more minutes to go, and I'd like to take as many questions as you'd like to pose. Questions fellow Amazonians, viewers, and listeners. A King Adeche asking, what if La Republic asks to begin around 5 years for them to leave us to serve rule peacefully? It's very good you are saying, what if La Republic asks? The answer will have to come from us and not from them. And you can note that the government is very, very careful to ensure that we do not get into deals that will mortgage the future of Amazonia. Amazonia belongs first, and riches that God gave us, those on top and beneath the soil, belong to us. We will make that determination, making call on the line. Hello. Hello, call. Let's know where you're calling from. Message, question. Hello, caller. A republic cannot dictate a negotiation to Amazonia. We have insisted that on that round table, La Republic and Amazonia must meet as equal partners. When we voted on the 11th of February 1991, we voted to get into a confederation of two states equal in status. So we are not coming. We come in as a republic, and it will be negotiated our people and less. Fellow caller.
Yeah, hello.
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 Greetings, please carry on. Hello, sir. You're very clear. Tell us who you are calling from. Well, the lines are stopping. We have about 8 minutes to go. Hello, caller.
Yes, you're talking to Ashu.
Agreed, you come.
Yes, I want to find out. Is it really known that Sisiku Ayuk has been arrested, the president?
We have said the president of the nation was abducted by heavily armed men while he had a meeting in his cabinet on what he had to do plight of the thousands and thousands of people that have been forced out of their homes and communities by the terrorist forces of Yaoundé. So yes, that's confirmed as true. Members of the cabinet have to reach our president. So yes, it's a distress time for our nation, but we must face the fact that we are acting in our powers, and the president and all our leaders must be freed. Arrest criminals, and they're not criminals. Why were they arrested? So yes, they were abducted, not arrested. You arrest people when you have a warrant of arrest.
Yeah, another question I want to ask is, are you still in Nigeria or they're already in Cameroon?
Are in Abuja. Yaoundé and its propaganda media has been sending out messages that they are in Yaoundé. So why don't they show us? And the light, they caught 4 of our compatriots in Bangui arms. Didn't you see that on TV? When they lied, they got weapons of mass destruction in Moyoka and Ekona. Didn't you see that shameless government put out lances and put out even an Amazonian cap and called all of that weapons of mass destruction? So you should know they are still under the captivity, and we believe the wrong captivity of the Nigerian government. Hello, caller. We have. So if you have any questions, you could put Facebook, or you ask there. But I do remember that our journey to Boya is concerned. Remember, our resolve is stronger than ever before. Make sure that if you're around, you join protest marches in your different communities. Even if it means flying hours and hours, you must do this for then His Excellency Sisiku Ayuk Tabe to do that. Let every single Ambazonian know that we don't get raped in schools. We don't burnt in schools, like one of the pictures where students and policemen setting fires. So to all who love their children, keep them at home. If you want to kill your child, choose your own knives and kill them. Don't send them into schools to be burnt and raped by Republic terrorists. When the security situation is right, when the conditions will be met, when members will be in charge, you what we have always called an Amazonian education that is second to none on the African continent. So if it's only for that, we must all fight till the last man standing. Amazonians, thank you so much tonight. Be courageous. Be firm. Be each other. When we started this struggle, all for one for all. What that simply is an injury to one is an injury to all. When hurt, all of us are hurt. When one is pushed out as a refugee, we are all refugees. When one is cordoned up, all of us are locked. When one is shot in the leg, incapacitated. We are all incapacitated. Let us stand like them. Let us rise from Mother Amia. Let us sacrifice like never before. Let us go out there and march. And let us contribute as we continue to the Nigerian government and diplomatic community until our President Sisiku Ayuk Tabe, until all our people, Mancho, Penteres, Asa, Patrick, Dango, and the many students are released from their places of captivity. Short live this struggle. Long live the Federal Republic of God bless you. Thank you. Thank you and good night.